I spoke last night to a wonderful group of people about the transformation of consciousness and the necessity, especially today, for such transformation. Now, when we're born, we begin our formation of consciousness. Consciousness meaning our awareness of what's going on around us and our story of that awareness. So we're formed in our mother's womb, and while we are there, we begin to pick up certain signals and understandings and comprehensions, and our consciousness is already beginning to form. Not only that, but we have our genetic flow, which can also be thought of as karmic flow. And those are the voices of our ancestors who speak through us. So while we are in the womb, we are this intertwining, interwoven flow from the past, ancestors. Then, in one way or another, either kicking and screaming or leaping out ready to go, we are born into this world. Right away, we begin understanding what's going on. We're pretty bright critters. We begin to pick up on what mama thinks, what daddy thinks, what all the ones around us think, and they begin teaching us what the world is like. There are yeses and there are nos, and there are understandings of who we are, where we are, and what's going on. It depends upon which particular birth family we leap into as to what we are taught. So we begin forming a consciousness. Now, many of us may stay in that particular consciousness that we've been taught for quite a long time without making too many additions, subtractions, or diversions. I doubt, though, that many of us last that long with some kind of mental straitjacket on. We are also rebellious creatures as well as creative, and we can throw that off quite easily, and we do. So, for example, I was born into a Baptist family in the South. I guess you could call it a Southern Baptist family. And within that, I began to understand the Christian way, the Southern Baptist Christian way of who I am, what's going on, etc. Now, when we are born into such a realm, it's up to us to transform our consciousness. First, there is the formation, and second, the transformation. And these transformations continue, hopefully, as we move along. We refuse to stay in the corpse of the past. We open to new birth continuously. So, for example, for myself, I decided that I was no longer going to go by my middle name, Richard. We were all called by our middle names for some reason in my family. And I became George on purpose. I let Richard go like a booster rocket that had carried me so far, and that was far enough for him. Thank you so much. He was a good guy, but he's still in me somewhere, but he's behaving himself. So I became George. A transformation of consciousness through my acknowledgement of a different name. We all do it in different ways. So you have your way. I'm just using that way as an example. Why is it essential for us to transform consciousness, especially today? Well, as we all know, and as it has been said over and over, we are in a desperate place today on earth, or at least it can be seen that way. The older ways are coming to an end and new ways are opening. Transformation of consciousness is essential in order to help the healing of this planet, the healing of ourselves, and the healing of others. Now, we can perform this transformation in several ways. We all have our paths and our practices for understanding. But one way is to begin to comprehend the level or dimension of your consciousness. There's ordinary consciousness or ordinal consciousness, which is a linear form of consciousness. I am here, I move over there. We go from here to there. So it's just walking along a certain circumscribed path. We get up in the morning, we put on the same old suit of ourselves without any thought, and we become what we were yesterday and walk through the day with an oh my and my goodness and doggone it and what the fuck. Oh, excuse me. And we keep fulfilling that old Zen proverb that I made up. How many times must I jump on this pogo stick? Is 10,000 enough? We do have the option, however, of when we awaken in the morning, in that precious time just before we know who we are, of opening to a different way of being this day, this moment, this now. And we can open out of the ordinal, linear consciousness into what can be called and has been called cosmic consciousness, meaning we open our awareness beyond the meat that we are, beyond the social self, go make a buck, get a job, come home, drink a beer and whatever, job, which it is, beyond that consciousness and open to an understanding that we are that which breathes us, the mystery. Something brought us into being. Something brings us into being. We give it various names, and you know them all, I'm sure. To realize, to make real, the understanding deep within my own heart, within our own hearts, that we are that which breathes us. Now, we don't have to go that far with it if that makes you uncomfortable. All that's essential, all that's essential is that we perform a martial arts, spiritual arts, healing arts kind of practice. The first thing to do is to settle down. There's a place just below the navel. In Japanese, it's called the hara, H-A-R-A. It's called other things in other languages. That place, if you'll put your hand just below your navel there, at this moment now, yes, please do, and feel that right there. That is your center of balance. We move from there. We dance from there. We talk from there. We laugh from there. This is a strong place. It anchors us. It anchors us to the ground of being, the ground of existence. So we settle down to this place. This is the first H, Hara, H-A-R-A. And I'm inviting you to join the 4-H club, okay? Come up from the Hara and you open to the heart area. Now, of course, this is more than just a physical organ. It's the heart of our being. It has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt at the probability level of 0.001, as shown in peer-reviewed scientific journals. You got to believe it. That the heart organ, the heart place, contains and is and radiates 40 times more energy than this piece of meat here, the brain. The heart is our true brain. The heart and the head together are our true brain. So we open our heart. First we settle down so that we're anchored to the ground. You know, it doesn't do any good if you're just flightying up there somewhere. Settle down, Hara. Open up the heart area. Now that can be enough unto itself to transform yourself during the day, walking around opening from your heart. And yet there's more. What we do is then we open up our intellect, our head, our thinking capability. We don't get caught in it. We don't get attached in it. It can be quite a meat grinder if we do, as you well know, to get caught up in your thoughts. So we open our intellect and our awareness begins to take form. We can put it into English. We can put it into other languages. We can put it into our thoughts. Okay? So now we have settled down in our Hara. We have opened our heart and we've opened our head. That's 3 H's. The 4th H is right up here. Sometimes I call it the crown of glory. Not too bad. It's a good visual image. But this H stands for holos, H-O-L-O-S, meaning that we open to the wholeness of being. We have no bounds except the ones we set. So we walk around settling, opening our heart, opening our head of awareness, and then opening to all that is. Now, if you settle down for just a moment and then open up to the crown of your head, you know, one way is to close your eyes and then look up from inside, and you can see light up there. When you start identifying with this particular crown of glory, the holos, when you start identifying with the light that's just above your head, with that special spot, when you walk around during the day, when you talk to other people, you're going to be different, quite different. So those are the 4 H's. Practice those if you wish, or you're a variation of them in some way. Why is this so important? Well, one of the things that comes to mind immediately by the meat self, by the ego, is stress reduction. Hey, that's pretty good. That's cool. All right. So we're less stressed. We're walking around in a good way, in a strong way, full of good spirit. Less stress. That's not the most important thing, however, in my point of view. It is essential that we open in this way because we are spheres of influence. Here's what I mean by that. I'll put it this way. Einstein and others some time back said that every field of energy has 3 components. One is a movable center, a center that can move. And by the 4 H's that I just described to you, and by other ways that you know that you can move your center. We also know that we can move not only from centering in our heart and so on, but we can move to centering in anxiety. We can move to centering in fear. We can move to centering in peculiarities of all kinds. It's a personal choice. We can move out of them too. All it takes is practice. So we practice moving out of peculiarities and moving into our heart and opening our heart, for example. Moving out of anxiety and fear, opening to the holos, to the crown of glory, so to speak, just above our head. Now, as we understand these movable centers, we begin to realize that we are fields of energy. Well, here's a second aspect of a field of energy. We understand that not only does a field of energy have a movable center, it also has a vibrational quality according to these definitions. We have vibrational quality. You can feel it. You know, when somebody comes into the room in love, you ever been in love? Of course you have. When somebody comes in the room in love, then we feel the difference than if they come in the room in hate or in discomfort or anxiety. It's a felt difference. This is what I'm talking about. We make a felt difference in the world according to where we place our center. Okay? So, what else? Not only does a field of energy have a movable center and a vibrational quality, but it also has an area of influence. This area of influence of a field of energy in a human is vast and deep and wide and knows no bounds. The way that I am, the way that you are right now and every moment affects everything in the cosmos. We have no bounds. We have no limits. Sir Arthur Eddington, a physicist, put it this way. He said, when an electron vibrates, the universe shakes. It's the law of physics, darling. It's the way it is. So if you go around in gloom and doom, you're helping create a gloom and doom universe. Go around in anger, you're helping create an angry universe. And the effect is immediate, and it's felt everywhere. So this is what I talked about last night. You know, most of it anyway. We all had a really good time. And I'll pass this on to you, and you'll do with it as you will. Bless your heart.